So I'd like to show you this book that I picked up recently from a swap meet. 1991, Oldsmobile Quality Advantage, part of the Oldsmobile Training Matrix. This book is a book that a salesperson would have had on their desk. It's small but pretty comprehensive. Covers all the models that Olds sold for the 1991 model year, and also talks a little bit about the competition. So I'd like to just go over this book briefly. Thought it might be interesting to some people, so we'll start in the beginning here. 1991 Oldsmobile Quality Advantage. And let's see, we got some stuff. Welcome explains about the books and what some salespeople feel about how much help the book is, and then we've got our list of our models here. We'll zoom in and take a look at that a little bit closer. And we got the Cutlass Calais, the Cutlass Sierra, the Cutlass Supreme, the 88, the 98, the Toronado and Toronado Trofeo, and the Cutlass and Custom Cruiser are both grouped in the same category, I guess, because they're the only two station wagons Olds sold at the time. Then the Silhouette, then the Bravada, and then the last section was for updates, which no one ever put any in this book. Best I can tell, this book is from the late summer of 1990. So, I'll zoom out here a little. Okay. And it's kind of a neat little book, because let's just start right here at the Cutlass Calais. But before we even get into that, it's a neat little book because it has the tab, or parts of some of the pages fold outward. So you get a pretty, it's pretty neat, and I'll show you how that works. It's very helpful when you're comparing one model to another from another manufacturer. So let's see, we'll start here. We've got the Cutlass Calais, and then it talks a little bit about it. A few little blurbs about why it's such a good car, and then the next page, more about it, the word on the street, some stuff from the press sometimes, and then what customers, some people have said here, and then what do we got here? The value your customers want tells you why the Calais is a great value. As you may know, that was the last year for the Cutlass Calais. But the neat thing is, now see on the next page, it talks about the competition. So a competition in this case, and I think it said this on the first page, yeah, the domestic competition, and this book only has a domestic competition. The imports are not in this book. That's a separate book. All import competitors will be provided under separate cover, so either those weren't out at the time this was published, or it was in a separate book for some reason, I don't know. But the domestic competitors would be the Ford Tempo and GM's own Buick Skylark, competing with themselves here. So anyway, there's the Ford Tempo, and here's the specs on the Ford Tempo. Now if you flip this out, this previous page, you will see on the left the specs of the Cutlass Calais range of models. Now you can easily compare the Cutlass Calais models to the Ford Tempo models and the Buick Skylark models. So that's how this works. And so I'm going to just sort of flip through each page of this thing so that you see a little bit of it. So here we have the 1991 Cutlass Sierra, the car favorited by everyone's grandmother. And the domestic competition, let's see, Cutlass Sierra. I got some blurbs about the car, more about the car, and then the competitors, the Dodge Dynasty and the Buick Century. Again, competing against other GM divisions. Not such a great idea. And next up, we've got the Cutlass Supreme. Look at all the buttons on that steering wheel. And it competes with the Ford Thunderbird. Interesting. That's a bit of a different car than a Cutlass Supreme. But I guess the coupe's sort of similar, even though one's front-wheel drive and one's not. And the Ford Taurus. Boy, that's interesting. The Chrysler Baron convertible. Yep, because the Cutlass Calais, or the Cutlass Supreme was the only convertible I think that Olds had, so that would make sense. And next, the 91 Oldsmobile 88. And they listed this as specifically as the 88 Royale. This was the last model year for that body style, so maybe they were just selling it in the Royale trim. Competitors, Chrysler New Yorker, Mercury Grand Marquis. Interesting, but I guess they're both kind of big cars. And the Ford Crown Victoria. And the Buick LeSabre, of course, another H-body relative. So, on to the next. Oh, I think I skipped one. Oh, there we go. The Oldsmobile 98, top of the line. I believe this was all new for 1991. Yep, that's right, 91 was all new C-body for that year. Competition, New Yorker, Chrysler New Yorker, 5th Avenue. Lincoln Continental, that's reaching up there a little. And the Buick Park Avenue, the C-body sister. Next, on to the Toronado and Toronado Trofeo. They list this almost separately. They listed as Toronado and Trofeo, but the Trofeo was a submodel of Toronado. Very technologically advanced car. A lot of tech features in this car. Competitor Lincoln Mark 6 or 7, Mark 7. Wow. That again, that's reaching up there. Although the Toronado and Trofeo were pretty well appointed cars, so I guess it's not too out of line to compare it with the Mark 7. But also, that's a rear-wheel drive car, though. Oh yeah, flip this open so we can compare the two. And the Ford Thunderbird Super Coupe. So we're comparing that to the Cutlass Supreme, was it? And also to the Trofeo. And the Buick Riviera, which was also on the same platform as the Toronado and Toronado Trofeo. Here's one that's near and dear to my heart, the Custom Cruiser. And this is the Cutlass and Custom Cruiser section. So the Cutlass Cruiser and Custom Cruiser are in here. See those blacked out C-pillars? That's a pre-production thing. Only the prototypes had that. And the Custom Cruiser, quite obviously, does compete with the Crown Victoria wagon and Country Squire. And the Cutlass Cruiser, see, it lists on here, Cutlass Cruiser, 2 trim levels, and then the 1 trim level of the Custom Cruiser. But yes, it does, the Cutlass Cruiser would be competing, I guess, with the Taurus wagon, although I thought the Cutlass Cruiser was a little smaller. Yeah, the Silhouette, the Dustbuster van. Silhouette. It's Cadillac minivans. Compared with the Ford Aerostar. Bigger van, rear-wheel drive, so yeah, I don't know about that. And of course, Dodge Caravan. the leading minivan at the time. And the last section, the Oldsmobile Bravada, the Chevy Blazer GMC Jimmy, badge engineered. Well, there was a little bit more than that. They actually, I think there was something with the all-wheel drive system was unique to the Bravada. So, a very close relative of the Blazer and Jimmy. And they're comparing it to the stalwart Jeep Cherokee. Certainly one of the leaders, if not the leader at the time in that particular category. And the Ford Explorer, the new up-and-coming, probably soon to be leader in that category. We had one of those. And the last section would have been the update section, which again, use this section of QA to insert these special updates as they become available. Well, nobody ever did. So that is the 1991 Oldsmobile Quality Advantage book, part of the Oldsmobile Training Matrix, of which I do have one more binder to go with, of 1991 model sales information, more for the dealer rather than the salesperson. And that will be coming up sometime soon. Thanks for watching.